Welcome, Spartans, to Halo TV Plus, part of Evolved, your home for Halo. I am your host, Oran, and on Halo TV Plus, my guests and I recap Halo's original television show, Halo the Series, and we discuss its contents and unique canon within the Silver Timeline. Joining me tonight for Episode 4 of Season 2, Reach, is David. Welcome back to the show, David.
Hey, everybody. Oran, I'm very, very excited to be here today. I picked a good one.
Yes, and I think we kind of got a little bit of a tease when we just saw the episode titles that we were like, this episode's called Reach. I'm going to pick that one when I was doing the schedule. And you got, probably the most exciting one yet of the second season. Hopefully we get more excitement later on, and I think we will. But this episode was a lot of action, and I think it's generally very well received by the community watching.
Hell yeah. My dad likes it, so that's what's crazy about me. My dad is enjoying this show, which is
my dad's watching it as well.
But your dad plays Halo, so I know you've done that with your dad. It's a very, very weird conversation for me to be talking about Halo with my dad. Be talking about Halo lore is quite weird.
Well, so my dad and I played Halo split screen when CE was out, Halo 2, Halo 3, and then once kind of Halo 4 and 5 were coming out, I was like off at college and living on my own and stuff. But my dad would still get the games, and so he's played probably all of them, or maybe most of them. And he'll jump into multiplayer every now and again, but he doesn't enjoy that much because he always gets just crushed. Because my dad's a fairly mediocre competitive player. But he enjoys the campaign and, follows the story loosely. And then I'll throw in some lore tidbits and stuff. But he did watch the season 1 show, or season 1 of the show, and now he's watching season 2. And he's a big fan of McKee. He just really likes that actress and her accent and the fact that she can speak Sangheili. And so that's kind of the reason that he really likes her. And so he's happy that she's back. And he even texted me. He was like, "Oh, McKee's back. Is it weird that I'm rooting for her over the Master Chief?" And I was like, "Yes, that is weird, Dad. But the show wants you to pull for all the characters that they have, I guess." So it's great. I mean, I think it's awesome that it's reaching out to a bunch of different people. Some of my coworkers are watching the show, which is just another weird conversation to have, because it's like I have such of a passion towards Halo, and I talk with you and the rest of the team so much about it, and I have a few online friends. But then now that it's like it's out there for just more people, it's like, well, you don't need to be a video game fan; you could just be a TV fan. And now you're watching the show and you're getting plugged into this franchise and this.
That's my dad done to a T.
Yeah. So it's interesting. It's an interesting time. So, well, let's jump in. I have some social things to get out of the way. If you're a returning listener, then you know the story. But if you're just joining us, welcome to Halo TV Plus. We publish 2 podcast episodes to accompany each Halo the Series episode. This episode is a commentary episode, where David and I, in a moment, will watch the episode, Reach, and discuss the events and scenes as they unfold on screen. We encourage you to watch along with us. We'll do a countdown. If you haven't watched the episode yet, we recommend you watch it before listening, and then watching along with us before you watch it along with us, because we spoil things as they happen. I mean, this is a pretty action-packed episode that we really don't want to be talking over if you haven't seen it. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I think some people just listen to our show, which is great, but just wanted to throw that out there. Tomorrow, we will release an analysis episode that will dive into more details and some predictions about different characters and scenes that you can have keep an eye out for on your feed. Halo TV Plus is part of Evolved. It hosts a bunch of Halo podcasts like Podcast Evolved, HCS Pro Talk, Mission Debrief, Builds with Blocks, and Halo Book Club. You can learn more about each of those shows on our website, evolvedhalo.com. Evolved also hosts another show called I Would Have Been Your Podcast, which is a Patreon exclusive podcast for our patrons. If you're not a patron and want to learn more, you can head over to patreon.com/HaloEvolved to learn more. Patrons receive a variety of exclusive rewards such as early episodes, access to our original 18-song soundtrack, unique swag, private access to our Discord channel, and more. And a shout out to all of our active subscribers. Thank you guys so much. It's always a pleasure to see you guys in Discord, and we're happy to give you guys the content that we give you guys. One little announcement. So as of recording and when this releases Monday morning, the Vanek helmet in Halo Infinite will still be the ultimate reward. So if you have not gotten your Vanek helmet or his visor, you got to log on to Halo Infinite before it resets around 10 a.m. Pacific time on Tuesday, the 27th. Until then, you have, just put in 2 or 3 hours and grab the helmet. The visor automatically unlocks as soon as you log in. I got mine earlier today, and now I have three of my armor kits feature each of their helmets, and it's pretty fun to just kind of play dress up on all the different armor cores that you have, and throw Vanek, Kai, and Riz's helmets on things. And it's really cool. I'm liking my ensemble. I think everyone's kind of making their own fire team. I'm seeing on Discord and Reddit and Instagram, different Halo fans are like, oh, here are each of my different Spartans, because they had that update not too long ago, David, if you remember, where the shoulders became cross core, and with helmets and visor colors being cross core, the customization is just huge for Halo Infinite right now. So a lot of people are having a lot of fun with that. Have you gotten the Vanek helmet? Have you been able to log on and get the other ones as well?
I've not tried, to be perfectly honest, to get on to get the TV styles aren't for the designs. You know what I mean? I'm not huge on them. Really, what's been huge for me is the operation armor when they dropped Mark V armor with the current operations for Spirit of Fire. That just made my day. I was like, this is all I've wanted, is an older style of Halo armor. So giving me Mark V has made me extremely happy. I actually, and what I did to complement that, for the first time ever last week, I purchased Halo points, credits, and I bought the pass for the operation one so that I would get the old school skin of the assault rifle.
Oh yeah, the original assault rifle skin.
Yeah, there was just something about that. I was looking at this skin for a while, and I'm like, don't do it, David. Why would you spend money on a skin? That's stupid. And then just time passed, and I'm just like, but it's a really good skin, and I kind of want it. Do you know?
Sometimes you just got to do it. I mean,
yeah,
there's no shame. It's whatever you want. If you use that, I mean, the way I look at it when I buy skins in whatever game, it's like, if I want to have this skin and this is what I'm gonna use the whole time, then it's like, okay, I'll just buy it. That's kind of my ideology about it, because what I don't want to do is buy something, use it for a few weeks, and then something else that's new and shiny comes out, and then I end up replacing it. It's like, oh well, I just bought money on something that now I'm not even using. And
I'm telling myself it's okay, because I have yet to put money into Halo Infinite. I didn't even buy the game. Do you know what I mean? It was on Game Pass, so I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah, that's true.
So it makes myself feel better when I think of it in those terms. But no, I haven't gone. I'm gonna get the other helmets. I know that you have to actually work to get them, and I haven't had a chance. They're not for me. Yeah,
they're the ultimate reward. So if you miss them, then they go away, and they're not going to come back until they introduce some sort of feature to allow you, kind of like Spartan points from Master Chief Collection, to allow you to kind of purchase old cosmetics and armor or whatever that have been
which previous. They probably will do eventually, right?
Yeah, they'll do it eventually. They said that they are working on a way to do that, and so I imagine if you missed these ultimate rewards for the Silver Team helmets, then I'm sure at some point in the future there'll be a way to just earn them with whatever currency that you can earn in game. So it's just, for those of you that were able to get it now, you got it now, and if you didn't, then you're gonna just have to wait. So, but it's cool. I kind of see a lot of players when I was playing today, they have the Silver Team nameplate. I even have the Keystone nameplate on mine. So it's cool to see more fans of the show in the game playing Halo Infinite.
Hell yeah.
So, but enough about Halo Infinite. Let's get back to the show. David, so last week was Visegrad, episode 3. Can you give us a quick recap of what happened on that episode before we watch episode 4, Reach?
I can. This episode, like you said, called Visegrad, so it's pretty much a throwback to the Visegrad, kind of the moment of the realization that Covenant are on Reach. So this episode has a similar vibe of that, but also a lot of other kind of components that I wasn't expecting, but I really enjoyed. So like the Visegrad relay is obviously there. We touch on, okay, the Cobalt team, which is a team of Spartans that were sent to this relay, were MIA. We later realized that they were killed by the Covenant insertion team to the surprise of absolutely nobody watching the episode. You get like kind of Keyes and Ackerson kind of at each other. They become at odds. You see the kind of the difference in styles. Okay, Ackerson's very Oni, Keyes very kind of straight laced, but we know Keyes is a little bit dirtier in this show than he comes across in the games. So he's interesting to see them talk to each other. So Ackerson is still not having fun with Chief. You had it written down as gaslighting Chief, which he is.
I mean, literally.
And I'm really enjoying that. I am enjoying he's talking about Chief is just a man in the suit. He can be replaced. I love the idea that he's very at odds with Chief and stuff like that. There's very different opinions of the processes and what to do. I think that it's all very good. You see Silver Team kind of questioning Chief and coming and fracturing there a little bit and splitting off. So that's been awesome to kind of see. We have the side story, Quan, the killer, we're going to call her now.
The assassin.
With Kessler as the assassin. I know Lara trying to leave the rubble. I actually enjoyed watching this, not really knowing like what is happening with the side story, but it's kind of interesting to see her. They're giving her cool shit to do. Ackerson's scenes with his dad is awesome. I absolutely loved this. As well as, kind of the reveal, Ackerson's sister was a kind of failed Spartan too. That's really cool. It really fleshes out his character and his motivations. And then him essentially killing his dad and using the flash clone of his sister to kind of cheer up his dad as well. It's like, it was such a great scene.
Yeah.
Because he's just abandoning Reach because he knows what's coming. It was so cool. I loved it.
Well, even to go back, and we talked a little bit about this on the last episode with Steve, but like his conversation with Keyes about like when Keyes is like, you're just going to give this all away? Like, I live here. And he's like, I live here too. This is my home too. And you don't know what I'm giving up as well. Like, it really puts some perspective that like what Ackerson is literally allowing the Covenant to destroy effectively his entire personal life, and he's going away to do what he believes he needs to do to stop the Covenant in the end game or in the long run.
Yeah, really, really cool. You get Chief and Parangoski kind of having their chats with the ramen. I enjoyed your conversation on it with Steve, to be honest, more than I enjoyed it on the show. But it was the reveal that she's still in Oni. I love that. I thought, oh hell yeah, because I love that character, so I want to see her more. Very unclear about her relationship with Ackerson, who's doing what, but I'm interested to see more, especially as Reach falls, to see what she does. Yeah. And then, the Chief and Perez coming back together again. Perez is the Quan of this season. Maybe done a bit better, I think. I'm not sold on her, like, importance, but, like, she's in the show. I suppose she's the touchstone. Chief needs another friend, essentially. So, yeah. I see her a lot in this episode. She's just the counterpoint to Chief's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We can. I've not heard that viewpoint towards her. So I'm looking forward to unpacking that a little bit during this episode and our analysis to see what you think, and kind of I can bounce some ideas that I have and some opinions I have. But yeah, I've not heard of Perez being compared to Quan of season 1. I like that.
Yeah. So it was good. I enjoyed last week's episode. It was good.
Yeah, well, let me give you some details for Reach, and then we'll get started. If you haven't queued up your episode, listener, you can do that now. We're just starting at 000. David and I do not have commercials, so if you have commercials, you will have to pause our recording during your commercial breaks. For Reach, the synopsis is: a Covenant assault threatens humanity's most important stronghold. John, Perez, and Silver Team fight an overwhelming enemy. Admiral Keyes rallies the UNSC forces to make a stand. Halsey and Soren must work together to escape captivity. It is directed by Craig Zisk. A runtime of 45 minutes and 12 seconds, and an air date of February 22nd, 2024. So let's go ahead. Let's get our remotes ready. Are you ready, David?
Ready? I am ready.
All right. We will press play when I say play. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
Here we go.
All right. She wakes up. So yeah, you said so you liked Visegrad because I think episode 3 was relatively mixed, had mixed receptions for, because it felt a little bit of like a bait and switch and kind of lead it up to something, but then kind of didn't give us some of the action we kind of wanted. How do you kind of feel and kind of place yourself on that spectrum? Like, do you think we got a good amount of story and character, or do you think there's still something left to be desired?
No, I think they're doing a great job with the characters they have, especially the new ones and stuff like that, and fleshing them out. And I've really enjoyed this season on top of season 1, to be honest. It's the tone and the vibe is just so well done, and so I'm liking the Visegrad, especially. I think I like it more because of today's episode. Just how they lead into each other very nicely, of like things being abandoned. I mean, we're looking here at Ackerson again. We're not going to fight. It's just we're just not going to win. I love that line, that dialogue, man. It's so good. Yeah,
it really puts it, or gives the audience like the knowledge that like Ackerson, although he's being a bit of an asshole to Chief and all that, but like he does get it. Like he knows what the Covenant is. Like and he can see it that we're going to fight, but we're just not going to win this one. We have to mobilize, regroup, and fight as well as we can, but in the end of it, we have to try again somewhere else. And I believe some of that mentality was kind of in the core canon of just like naval battles that would happen in space. Like hundreds and hundreds of ships or thousands of ships would be lost, and only like 2 or 3 Covenant ships would ever be destroyed in those early engagements. And so it's
so one-sided.
Yeah, so like it's still relatively early for them to kind of figure out how to really fight the enemy. And I kind of think that this second half of the season could really provide us with a good change and shift for the war, kind of like how I guess Halo 2 kind of did that in the games. Yeah, it did. So
there's our boy Vanek feeding his buddies.
Our boy Vanek. Yeah, I like this Keith. I wonder if that's I was wondering if he was going to call like the other pigeon David. That'd be pretty funny. But yeah, they get right into it. They seize the explosion, and Vanek goes to work, and then we cut back to Chief and Perez running down the street here.
I think they do a fantastic job here of like a city in panic, just under kind of fire, and then you know later on in the episode we get the sections where people are just chilling because they don't know what's going
people
on.
Don't know yet. Like it's like an underground area or something. And they're totally oblivious. Which is, it's like when these types of events happen, it's like for the word to get out, it's happening in real time, and so it's I think
comms are down. Do you know? So information's not being passed.
No, I think this first half of the episode for Perez, I think like the way she deals with the realization of what's happening, the mental process, the loss of her family, and like the eventually when she has to react and do something, like I think Perez has a great sort of arc this episode from being kind of lost and feeling helpless to eventually doing flying a ship away with. So I really like her escalation and kind of arc that she has.
Yeah, and I love too, like they've set it up kind of cleverly because we're all like it's being glassed from space, and you guys were touching on the point of like, so why would you send troops down? And that was the same point of like Ackerson questioning Chief, like why would there be troops on the ground? Like why would you have seen a bunch of elites on that planet at the beginning of for episode 1? He just like doesn't understand that that's not how why would they glass it and then have troops on the ground? But I love it that they have ulterior motives that's really being fleshed out in this episode. Obviously, we'd seen before where they grab the artifact, So they're not glassing the planet because they're gathering intelligence. And even here you see like the city, it's not bombs from air. They're not being bombarded from space. It's explosions on the ground. They think these are like bombs being planted as opposed to like a what am I trying to say? Like a surface to air war.
I was expecting like almost like wraith fire, you know, like kind of plasma damage from a wraith. But yeah, you're right. It is a little bit more like artillery based. But yeah, no, it's great how they've been doing it.
And here we
I also like we cut pretty early to these two. I like their tension, their dynamic, like kind of throughout the whole episode. Soren and Halsey talking to each other. I think we learn a lot of things that I really like this episode, and I kind of want it to continue into the next episode.
Yeah, me too. Especially with what happens to these characters in this episode.
Well, she's very calculated. So like she is a million miles ahead of him, and she's also thinking about her own things.
This is
like,
great. Like, she's like,
she's like, okay, you're here. Like, and like, tell me what you want to say. Like, I'm listening. And but what I also like is like later in the episode, she asks him like, you have a son, like what's that like? And she's like super interested. And I thought it was her trying to like be more personable, and Soren, you know, reacts and is like, no, I'm not going to tell you about my son. And she's like, well, I'm curious purely scientifically because you're a Spartan. And I was like, holy shit, that's right. Like that, I completely didn't even make that connection. Or maybe I did back in season 1, but kind of have since forgot about it. And so I think that's, now I want to explore that a little bit more. Now I'm a little bit more interested in Kessler.
I wonder, does Kessler become a more interesting character?
Yeah, just because of Halsey's line there. So. Yeah, here's some of what I think is good acting and characterization for Perez. Just like there's no training for this. Like this is like what do I do? Like she's just in complete shock.
Chief is all business.
And we're about to go into that area you're talking about, where like they don't even know yet, and she tries to warn him.
Yeah, I love this because like you've got kids here, you've got soldiers just milling around. It's like a mall. It's like restaurants.
This is a huge set too.
Yeah,
like. That must be like 200 extras. It looks great. It's like
this I thought was weird. Here's stealthed elites, no weapons, just milling dudes around. I'm like, what's the and the Chief just milling this dude out of it. Excellent.
Yeah,
I love it. Just splitting his fingers. Yeah.
I think I want to. I'll just talk about it now. Maybe we talk about it some more in the analysis, but I think my biggest gripe with the episode as a whole is like how the Covenant are fighting differently because the story took away the Spartans' armor. And it's like I kind of like that angle to where Ackerson took all of their armor, all their assets, it's all gone. They have to fight without the armor. I'm like okay with all that. But then now they've like changed how the Covenant fight to allow for that, so then they don't just die immediately.
Yeah.
You know,
but even
like
there I'd say
that fight versus like remember the opening fight from season 1 on Madrigal where like those like Kwan's friends like literally just get like evaporated.
Yeah.
Like that's what should have happened here.
they've definitely toned down the violence I've noticed that too in this season. Like, we're like, we have elites in there with no weapons, just milling like civilians out of it. I'm like, what tactically? What are you guys doing in the shopping mall?
Yeah. Like, even if it was an energy sword, like, the energy sword, they could just be slicing and dicing people, and then Chief can punch them, disarm them. I mean, he kind of does that at the end of the episode, but, like, you could have had that moment there, I guess, and it would have been just as interesting, I think.
This was also a tiny little bit of a letdown for me, because I was like, I want to see Chief mill some elites out of it with an axe. Do you know what I mean? I want to see, like, Chief go God of War on these elites and and we didn't get it.
I'm not sure how I really feel about this scene, because, like, I kind of get what it's doing, where they go into the shop, and that woman is like, well, someone has to remember all this. Like, I like the moment, and I get what they're like, the showrunners and stuff are trying to, tell us, like, oh, that's a typewriter from, back from the 21st century or 20th century. And, like, I get all that, but at the same time, it's like, but I kind of just want to watch Chief kill some aliens. Like,
yeah. I guess
so.
Some of it was, I guess it was trying to imply that, like, how different people face the facts of the reality of what's happening on the planet.
Right.
Like, Perez knows, like, it's going to be glass, therefore it's nothing you do here matters. There's not going to be anything left to remember. And, like, the woman knows that, but probably knows there's nothing else for her to do and nowhere else to go. Do you know what I mean? So she's just going to stay by her store.
Yeah, she could be, like, she may not have a family, and it's kind of just her, and she's holding on to these.
This is what's important to her.
Really.
Yeah.
It just kind of is what it is. But I mean, I feel like we've gotten this sort of characterization from other characters in other similar stories of, they just kind of, like, they go down with.
I mean, Oran, there it is, right behind Chief. The whole reason this scene exists, the best scene in the whole season so far.
I mean, it's a relic for sure.
I love that it's the OG one too.
A piece of history.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we might be talking about this scene backwards now, but, like, we did talk over
the flipping the coin scene. Yeah, I did like that too.
Which I did like. I liked that moment. Yeah,
because it shows
a bit of levity.
It's showing also, like, Chief's absolute confidence in himself, which is, like, he was obviously made to doubt himself in the previous episodes, where an actress and everything, of they're assessing his mental health, trying to, like, say what's wrong with him. Did removing Cortana, like, break him? And obviously they're trying to bring Chief down so that he can be replaced, that he's not just ultimate, unquestionable hero. And I think it does a good job of Chief explaining that, like, it wasn't luck. He knew. Do you know what I mean? That, like, he has this absolute confidence in his decision making, which I liked. I liked seeing kind of Chief being questioned, having questioned himself, but coming out vindicated and being, like, assertive. He knows what to do. Especially because we're looking at, like, the losing battle of Reach beginning now, and you kind of know, okay, we're going to fight, but we're not going to win. But seeing Chief, like, step up and being like, we're going to make it, going to do it, like, do you know what I mean? He's assertive in himself. I like this. It was good, and he understands this woman too. I love that he gets it.
Yeah. Like, she does understand. Like, let's go. Well, again, like, he's doing his Chief thing, where it's like, we have our mission.
I'd love for him to just take the axe, though. Like, take the axe. Okay, she has to stay behind and protect the Xbox. I understand that. That's a good plot point.
Yeah. No, now that I'm rewatching it, I agree.
A dungeon.
Yeah.
This is the scene. This is great.
So it's like, now I want, to see what Kessler's in, and now I care a little bit more about Kessler.
Also the fact that she knows. Also that she knows everything. I love that too.
That's true. This is the first time Soren's ever interacted with Halsey since he ran away. But she knows everything. Like, they know what's been going on, and they just, I guess, haven't been able to.
Yeah, but we're also getting up to, like, an amazing line here. that I love is that you're saying he ran away and he thinks he escaped, but she's like, no, you were let go. And I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, just the repercussions of that and how that rocks Soren.
Yeah, it completely changes his perspective of the day he left. Like, and that's a very like defining moment in himself of like, I chose to leave the Spartan world behind me, and I went through this ordeal of escaping and crashing and surviving off bugs and bark and all that. But then now she's like, no, we just let you go.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to go. And it's a completely,
But she was like, no, I needed John to be the leader, not you, because you're damaged now. Therefore, let him go. And then I like the idea of the letting him go was also a little experiment of herself to see what would happen. What would he go and do and achieve?
Yeah.
And like the fact that he created a child must be fascinating to her. She's like, oh my God, tell me about that.
Something else I really liked, like a very small detail, is how she said that oh crap, I just forgot it. But it's a detail from Core Canon, like from his story Pariah, that that he had a choice. That so Soren, it was the only Spartan of the Spartan 2 program to where she asked him, like, do you want to be part of the program or not? And Soren said yes, because of the whole ordeal that his family went through. And he killed his stepdad, and his mom died, and all that kind of stuff. It's a great story if you haven't read it, listeners. It's called Pariah from Evolutions. And so they continue to latch onto that.
This is it. Look at Riz being a badass, man. Just rocking this
just holding anytime a Spartan holds a chain gun is just always amazing. Yeah. But anyway, I like that detail that they were able to tie in there for Soren. Now, I do like so there's a lot of discourse on the internet of the fact that they're fighting without their armor and all that kind of stuff. But like, for me, if I were to picture them wearing their armor, like I feel like they don't really change how they're like acting or like the way the characters are interacting with each other. Like to me, it's just like, well, it would be cooler for sure if they are wearing their armor and they're being badass Spartans.
Well, I think it's fine if this is an episode, because we have the Spartans split up, so it makes sense they're not in armor when the fight kicks off. But we'll talk about maybe in the analysis. But by God, Oran, if they're not in a suit at some stage in the Battle of Reach, I'll be pretty pissed off if they spend all of Reach without armor.
I mean, I was shocked when.
Oh man, look at Lewis, just a blind Spartan with a grenade launcher, milling dudes out of it. That's very satisfying. Sorry, go ahead.
I like how Lewis is in the fight here and is doing his thing. I thought everything that he was doing is great.
This scene is awesome too.
I mean, all of these action sequences, I think they're choreographed really well. Like a lot of like long takes and handheld camera, and like it's like, look at all that. It's just. And you get, again, like here they are with the energy swords. Like I feel like that could have very well been what was going on in the mall, to where it's like, okay, we don't have any of this plasma fire, but people are literally getting sliced in half. But I guess they had to tone down the gruesomeness.
We kind of missed it there, but in that explosion, it knocks out Lewis's boyfriend. And I feel that I felt, oh shit, we literally got introduced to this guy, and he just dies immediately.
Yeah. Something that really hit me, like thinking about it, is that how many people die this episode? Like I don't want to get too ahead of it. Like maybe that's an analysis sort of thing to talk about, but like Steve brought up a good point on the last episode where it's like, well, when you play Halo Reach, like, your whole fire team like eventually gets killed, and it's like that kind of just has to happen in the show as well, especially if we want to get to a point where it's only Chief at the Halo, in CE.
Well, it doesn't have to be. Well, that's the thing. Like, we're not in core canon. Do you know what I mean? They can do what they want. Like, we don't have to follow.
Right.
So,
but, I think it just really puts it in perspective, though, that just like everyone is expendable, though. Yeah. So it's like, yes, some of them could go away or do other things or retire or whatnot, but like they also could just have these heroic moments, like what Lewis is about to do.
Well, I was about to say that. Like, first shout out, here we get a Wraith, and we don't get to see it very well. That was kind of what it was like, showing me a Wraith, but the scene stays with Lewis, and then he kind of dies off camera. Yeah,
well, it turns back to Riz, and you see her reaction.
Yeah, okay, there's a good shot of the Wraith.
Yeah, right here, yeah, and you see her.
Oh,
and I do like this because like you don't need the big explosion because of the story that the filmmakers are trying to tell. Like, they really want you to see Riz and how she responds to this.
That's true,
because she was having those connections with them over the last 2 or 3 episodes and thinking about what would life be like not being a Spartan.
Yeah,
but here we are doing our Spartan things, and it's like that. It's almost like that thread of her not being a Spartan almost just died with Lewis, at least in this moment. And so it's.
Well, I imagine
I like how they chose not to show certain things, and you focused on Riz and saw what you saw out of her.
Yeah, I like Riz. I like her character development. This caught me off guard.
Yeah, I was shocked Halsey Cortana was here.
Yeah.
Because it leaves a lot of strange questions.
And then McKee is here. Coming to get Cortana, I'm like, oh man, what do they want with Cortana? That's really interesting.
This gives me a lot of questions, which I think we'll unpack in the analysis episode. But it's like, just why and where are we going with it? It's just I'm intrigued, but yeah, we'll kind of just see how it goes. But this is also where I realized, they're coming back to FleetCom now. Vanek's gonna come up, sit and tell them about the suits, and then they're also gonna be like, "Where's Kai?" And like, I literally when I was watching the episode, I was like, "Steve, you son of a bitch."
Steve, you son of a bitch. Yeah.
So like, I'm gonna be so disappointed if Kai is not with Ackerson on Onyx.
Same.
But that has to be where she went.
100%. 100%. I mean, I believe it now. I'm on board for it.
And then this is another good moment. Again, like, Perez is still kind of in shock, and Chief is doing the Chief thing. Like, well, we're back here. Now we just do the next part of the mission. Like, we just got to keep going. We don't stop.
I love this. Heads.
Yeah.
Oh man, Kai betrayed you guys. You don't even know it.
You don't even know it.
This caught me. I was like, oh man, they took the armor. That sneaky son of a bitch.
Yeah, and so like I like the boldness of this, of like that choice of like, yeah, they took the armor, so now they have to fight without armor, and it makes them a lot more vulnerable. You, I'm just curious how long that's going to go, because I don't want the rest of the season to be them fighting without armor.
I have ideas that I'll keep till the analysis episode of what they might do. I mean, it makes sense at the beginning, especially because, like, and I didn't realize it. I mean, maybe I took, like, season 1 kind of for granted. Like, nobody in this room right now knows who John is.
And I didn't realize that either until Keyes' speech.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
He walks around on the base in season 1, and people definitely know he's John. He's Master Chief.
Yeah, but maybe where he is now, or maybe not everybody.
Different groups of people. Yeah, I guess that.
Yeah.
There's probably a Spartan barracks that has a certain amount of people around it that are aware of what they look like without armor. And then we have the reveal, obviously, of Cobalt got ambushed.
Yeah, I like that Keyes finally tells chief,
and
like,
explains what the Covenant are doing.
You were right. This BS is what's happening, but you know what? It doesn't really matter now because this is what the situation is, and we got to do what we got to do.
And they very quickly explain here, like, what is happening. They're going for power plants to shut off the Mac guns because the Mac guns are what are keeping away the fleet. And then our fleet have fucked off. So
yeah, and I like that because it also shows that, like, this is not just a one episode engagement. Like, this is going to be basically the rest of the season.
Which is crazy that episode 4 does this, and we're like, oh man, there's so much more to go.
Yeah. But I think, they don't talk about Quan or Kessler and like any of those story beats here. And then they show a little bit of Halsey, but presumably we're going to get more of like Halsey and Soren. So like and Ackerson and all that. So I think the show has a lot of other threads that it needs to tell. So I think over the course of the next couple of episodes, like they'll be able to break up, the Reach sort of engagement and the fall of Reach with those other storylines. So whereas this is 45 minutes of only the fall of Reach, you know what I mean? So like, I think it'll be broken up for the second half. And then just to touch on that last moment, he talks about Thermopylae as being a sort of like mission tactic that they're going to do to protect FleetCom from the Covenant, and that's the penultimate episode. I think that's episode 7. So like I think we're really buckling in starting this episode.
Yeah. Love this reveal.
Yeah, I Natasha as Halsey is just amazing. I think
she is.
She's just. I just really like it.
Yeah.
So this is, I think her sort of turning point to where it's like she now needs to figure out like what she needs to do.
Yeah.
Of like, how do I keep going? How do I press on? I need something to do. And she kind of overcomes the shock of what's happening, and then finally, I think, takes the initiative to start helping with the wounded, and then that eventually leads her to kind of going to where she goes. So I think that was a good little moment with Perez.
It's a good line.
This speech, man.
It's good.
So good.
I wish there was more of the speech being like shown. Like, I'd like to believe that he wasn't just
like
talking
broadcasted?
to. Yeah, I like to believe it wasn't just like 50 dudes in a room. I'd like to see, was he talking? I would like to see like other people on comms fighting around the streets hearing this. I would
and it's
preferred
like
that.
that would have been a great little shot. If they,
Yeah.
That's I don't know. We'll just say that it happened in our headcanon.
Yeah. Someone left their mics on. I like that too. Like, straight up, like, we're all dead people. This is it.
Yeah. And it has that cutaway to some of the Marines. Like, I mean, the weight of it. I mean, like, honestly, it's like he's basically saying, like, our mission isn't to save Reach. Our mission is to save as many civilians as we can.
Yeah.
And it's like, when you put it in that perspective, it's just like, yeah, this is This is the fight. This is the sacrifice.
And I like the way he like spins. He doesn't need armor. Look at him. He's a man. Warrior.
Would have been interesting if they threw him into Marine or ODST armor for the sake of just having armor.
Yeah.
Assuming they even
Do you
fit
think
in it.
there was some kind of gear he could be given defensively, you know? Put on a flak jacket. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like it also would have maybe helped with kind of the ending scene as well.
Yeah, I was also thinking that. We'll see.
What a speech, man. That was like, yeah. I'm sad we won't get another one of these moments with Keys.
Yeah. I'm mixed about how the character was portrayed in the show. I think this is the strongest episode by far is this one. And I'm more intrigued.
For him, you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I know as you guys had talked in that previous analysis episode, I'm like, yeah, I'm more intrigued to see what happens next in, let's say, the gap that has been left. And I thought
because I like this moment because it was just like, yeah, stay here. You need to lead. You need to lead us. Another day.
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, like he needs
to be in the Pillar of Autumn. Like he needs to be in the ship.
I think the that line like really gave me like the mindset that I was like, oh, okay, they're giving him some plot armor so that he can stay alive.
Yeah. And then we'll see.
And then I'm like, oh, well, maybe not. And then also, I thought this was going to be a sort of like, I don't know if it's like a homage or taking to that
blowing the bridge. I'm
blowing the bridge from ODST.
I think that's going to come later because Keys had a line about blowing it up. He said, make sure it's full of those bastards, but as many of those bastards as possible before you do. So I think this bridge is wired, and they're going to blow it later. I think we're going to get that later on.
Because like the imagery is also the same because it was what, Oni Alpha Site? That's what that was? So
Oni Alpha Site.
I think they're, it's like a giant pillar obelisk type of building.
Yeah.
Much like FleetCom is.
We got a Scorpion. We got the 2 tanks. They did it. They did the thing. They put the race on the Scorpion. This is good too. Him and her. And Soren.
And Soren. Yeah, I like these moments. It was, yeah.
Like that. I'm a civilian.
Pirate.
This is a good scene, man. A small business owner.
Business owner. Yeah, I like that comment.
Yeah,
that
fantastic. Yeah,
it's like, yeah,
it's good.
No, man, I think the characters are really, like, all these guys. They're just done very well to make us care.
Hell yeah.
So like this is another one. Like now they have plasma weapons.
Now they do.
So it was just a little. Oh, okay. Here you go. This is the first acknowledgement of Miranda
that she still exists in the Halo universe. Sorry, I can't say interesting. Get a room. Fantastic.
I was expecting like a cruiser to enter the atmosphere at this point.
Yeah.
I'm not. I know they probably wouldn't be.
There's plasma coming down from the sky there. Like something is coming through and hitting the city.
Well, I mean, there's probably some sort of
light aircraft,
like air support.
Yeah, there, like you can see it in the background.
Yeah, but it's not going to be a Corvette or whatever ship it's capable of doing the glassing.
It's true, and I don't think they're not trying to glass the planet yet. So they still have objectives.
They're going to wait for McKee and the Arbiter to get out.
You think that's the Arbiter? I don't think that's the Arbiter.
I mean, it's not Thel.
Yeah.
But the transmission that Perez had at the end of the last episode.
He has a name, right? Yeah, he did it. He announced himself. I wrote it down. Yeah.
But it has to be him. Like, he's the one with McKee.
Yeah, we'll talk with analysis.
Like, I don't think he has any difference in his armor, which is a little unfortunate.
He does. I think he does. Yeah, you get
he does?
You get a good look at him later on in this episode, and you can tell he's different than the others.
I guess you always just see him fighting, and so it's always moving quickly. It's hard to maybe notice, but yeah, since if he has different armor, then like because you give your important characters a different look than your extras, so like I think it makes sense that he is a quote unquote Arbiter character. I like this 9. Not without you on it, sir. Yeah, this is where I was like, oh no, really?
Yeah.
Are they about to do it?
Yeah, you push those buttons real slow there. Come on.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, everybody's dead.
I'm like, what if he like pulls out a pistol and he tries to shoot it, but he doesn't?
That's what I thought he was going to do.
Because he doesn't keep it loaded. Remember that?
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. Like, this scene is great for like a few different things. Like, I wasn't really in love with Keyes, but I like the repercussions of what happens here and how it changes everything.
It's like I think the scene was done very well, and like I don't really have any critiques, so to speak, or like things that you would do differently. I guess I'm just disappointed that it's Keyes. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm just sad that it's him because now he's gone.
But this is good. Like, I mean, I thought he was going to kill himself, not that he was relying on her to do it. And then I love also that scene of Halsey freaking out. Now we get Halsey actually feeling human.
Yeah, and actually caring.
Yeah.
Or exactly. We get some sort of humanity.
And I think this is the first moment from here on out. I think Halsey's character, we're going to see her change.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're going to get more closer to the Catherine Halsey that actually gives a shit about people, as opposed to one that only caring about herself. And I actually love how they portrayed her here. So I hope to see that. I hope to see some character change in her.
I mean, we're all about that character change.
Yeah.
Because you got a glimpse of that from season 1
when Miranda was in trouble. Yeah,
with Miranda, but then very quickly you learn that was all a front for her to get a scan of her eyes, so then she can hack into.
Well, there was also when they were getting the artifact and Miranda's ship got blown up, she gave a shit then.
Oh yeah, okay, that's true. I think that's true. I think that was a little bit more legitimate, but I think. The moment on whatever episode that was after that, where she was like, talking with Miranda, but she was just kind of I think that was a little bit more staged. But yeah, I think it's interesting now. Like the two moments that you really see Halsey's humanity is when Miranda and Jacob were basically on the, had their lives on the line.
And then we get this dope scene.
Yeah, this is great. And I did not see this coming either.
No, me neither.
But you know what I do like about this is that Soren is firing and basically among the Spartans now. Like, like he's next to Chief and Riz and all that. And so...
Oh, good stuff. Yeah, he's just part of the unit now. He falls right back in. Yeah, I really like that.
And again, this choreography, I just think that the stunts and
there you go. You see the elite in the middle?
Okay, yeah.
He's different than the other two.
Yeah, so he has to be, quote unquote arbiter.
I think he's the leader of the fleet, but I don't think he becomes the arbiter because I don't know if we can care about him the way that we. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think the show. I think it's a silver timeline arbiter. If you know what I mean.
Okay.
Like maybe the arbiter doesn't mean this like mark of shame type of like.
I think it still might. I think they might if they want to give us an arbiter that we see become Chief's buddy, then he needs to be broken from the Covenant, and the way you do that is to have the arbiter exist. This was a great moment, man. I was waiting for this.
Yeah.
And then
he
this
just gets shot.
Yeah, but then you have him.
Yeah, but that's good though.
Slice. Oh, that was perfect. Yeah. And then you have her save his life for the second time.
Yeah. Not yet.
Oh no. That's why you wear armor.
Yeah.
I was kind of bummed to lose Vanek, to be honest.
Oh, dude, I was...
Yeah.
Like, and again, I was like... Honestly, like, when this happened, I was like... I was bummed. And the first thing that came to mind was, like, when Kat dies by getting sniped. And
how pointless it was. Yeah.
Not how pointless, but just like from the idea that like this huge devastating moment is happening, the fall of Reach, and like anyone can die at any moment. Like this might have hit me more emotionally than Kat's death did, but like it's still the same sort of like expendable, like anyone's at risk because of the crazy event that's going on right now. And like you, and it, and it's like we had what four major deaths, I guess, or two major and two minor this episode, and it's like it's the mid-season episode.
Also consider like all of Perez's family. I know it was a great episode, man. I loved it.
Yeah, no, it was great. It's a good one for sure, and I just want the momentum to continue.
I like want the next episode is called Alara, is it?
Yes, Alaria.
Okay. In analysis, I have an idea of what's going on there, but I think we're about to lose momentum, and I'm kind of worried about that. I'm kind of worried.
Well, okay, yeah. Well, we could talk about that. Before we get to that, though, I like what we're at the halfway point now, so like. What do you think, like, how do you think the first 4 episodes have done for season 2, kind of as a whole, to kind of get us to this midway point, and kind of, where does that, not necessarily what do you want from the second half, but, like, how does that set you up for what we might get going into the second half of the season?
I think they've done a fantastic job, and of even bringing us from season 1 into season 2. I thought the first 2 episodes back to back were really well done. How the changes in the characters, how they explained, the Spartan team, the Silver team have taken out their pellets, but there's other Spartans that haven't. And there's a dynamic between them has changed. And like seeing Ackerson come in as not a scientist, but as the lead of the Spartan program, and how the dynamic has changed within Fleet Com, and just how that changes the actual fall of Reach, I thought is really well done. Seeing that humanity, they weren't just caught completely on the hop. They knew it was coming and bugged out. And they took certain assets with them. And I find it's so much more interesting to see the fall of Reach from that perspective. And then we're getting a very on-the-ground look of civilian life, of how that changes. We have Perez as obviously the foil for Chief to kind of care about what's going on with the fall of Reach. I mean, it's really well done. I'm super surprised that it's the 4th episode. I'm like, holy crap, the fall of Reach is happening and will happen over time, and that's awesome. I'm so interested to see how they go from here to, I know, like we've all talked about, okay, the end of this season is right when we get to Halo, right? That's what we're going to see. I'm not sure if that's the case anymore. Just because things are so different. But I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm enjoying it a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you put a good point that it's like we know the fall of Reach so well between the books and the games, and because this is its own timeline and it has different characters doing different things, it kind of needs the fall of Reach to be different with the confines of the story that they're already like telling us within the Silver timeline. So I agree that I think it's doing a good job of introducing change and tweaking things, but still giving us the core like incident and like, you know, and like the gravity of what this means, since it is such a pivotal moment in the core canon that it's an equally pivotal moment in the Silver timeline. So it's and I do like that it's gonna be continuing on in the next couple of episodes, presumably for the rest of the season. It has me kind of thinking about like how they sort of respond and fight, and it's gonna kind of, at least what I hope, it gives us the same sort of vein that like the game Reach was, to where every mission you completed your mission, but at the end of your mission, like something tragic happens.
Yeah.
And then then you're left with this somber moment, and it's like, well, I just took all these steps forward, and then the Covenant knocks us all these steps back, and then we just go on to the next mission, we go on to the next fight until it eventually all falls apart. So it's I'm just curious how they're going to weave the story, since kind of, you know, what we know compared to what they're going to be changing. So it's to me like I think it makes sense that this is the midway point, that it's like this is the mid-season sort of stinger. Like we got some deaths, we got some high action, and it's just going to kind of keep pulling at us to continue on to the rest of the show and the rest of the season. So anything else you want to say before we sign off, and then we can talk about some deeper questions and stuff going into the next episode?
No, nothing much. It's really good. I highly enjoyed watching this again. Even it was really good. Great season 4 so far. I'm worried about the future though. I'm worried, Oran.
Or great season 2.
Season 2. Yeah, episode 4. Season 2. It's good.
Well, all right. Well, we'll wrap things up there, listeners. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Halo TV Plus. Thank you, David, for joining me this week.
No problemo.
Halo the series premieres exclusively on Paramount Plus every Thursday. If you're interested, Paramount Plus also produces a Halo after show segment called Halo the Series Declassified, and it releases with each television episode. It's about 15 or so minutes. It's also on YouTube. This week for Reach, Sydney interviews Bentley Kalu and Danny Sapani. They play, of course, Vanek and Admiral Keyes, respectively. It's pretty interesting, kind of giving their take on Season 2 and kind of playing with the characters and having the change. And they also talk about their death and how it's impacting on the story, and how kind of bittersweet it is that they really enjoyed working on the show, and then now, unfortunately, their characters were killed. So some good interviews there. And then there's also some featurettes about how the crew brought the fall of Reach to life on screen. And so they talk about the production design. They have a military like tech or a supervisor that kind of helps the crew do everything to be military accurate. Talks about the effects and how they're able to layer on motion capture and stuff. It's a pretty interesting behind the scenes episode. I recommend people check it out since it is such an action-packed TV episode.
Yeah, unless you live in Ireland, in which case you are not able to view it, not even on YouTube.
You can't even watch it on YouTube?
Nope, it is not available in your region. Very frustrating.
Wow, that is frustrating. We're gonna have to rip it somehow and send it to you. We'll have to talk to the wizards behind the scenes of Podcast Evolved. That's so weird. It's not even on Paramount Plus?
No, it is not on the app. And when you try and go see it, because I tried to go, because I know he puts them in the silver debriefs, Alex does, so I went in to try it, and it even says may not be available in your country. When I click on the link, it just says, YouTube says no, go away.
That's weird.
You can get.
I wonder why.
Yeah, you can get to the playlist and you can see the videos, but you can't play any of them. It's very annoying.
It must be, I don't know, a censorship thing or
kind of region lock. I don't know. I haven't seen anything like this in a very long time where content is actually region locked. Yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate to hear. I'm sorry about that.
It's alright. It's okay. I'll get over it.
Well, like I mentioned at the top of the show, you can find every episode to all of the shows that Evolve produces on our website, evolvedhalo.com. Don't forget to check us out on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Once again, another special shout out to all of our patrons for supporting Evolved and making all of our shows possible. Head over to patreon.com/HaloEvolved to learn more. If you like this show, rate us and leave us a review. We greatly appreciate all the feedback we receive from our listeners to improve the quality of our show. And you can leave us an email at podcastevolved@gmail.com or a voicemail for our Google phone number at 205-EVOLVED, which is 205-386-5833. And with that, I've been your host, Oran, on Halo TV Plus, and until next time, evolve!